Hello, I've spent way too many hours lately on OpenClaw, customizing everything I possibly can to make it as efficient and as effective as possible so that it can be my personal assistant, my Jarvis. And Jarvis is now here. It exists. And in this video, I'm going to show you the one thing that I did in the past 24 hours that lowered my costs by 80%. Seriously, it's quick, it's easy, it's going to be a short video. You do one thing with your OpenClaw or Clawdbot or Moltbot, and what it will do is significantly reduce the amount of tokens that you use while still giving you a really, really high level of output. You won't even notice the difference. This is the difference between having to hire a human and having a personal assistant that works for you at 5 times cheaper. It will literally change everything. So real quick, I want to give you some background so that you understand what we're going to do before I screen share and get right into this. So when you're setting up OpenClaw or Clawdbot, you are connecting it to an external model. I'm sure you already know this. You're connecting it most likely to Anthropic or OpenAI through an API key, and that charges you based on how many input tokens or input words, roughly, and output tokens or output words, roughly, are generated from the AI system and put into the AI system. Now, that costs money, obviously, because you're paying for those tokens. Now, what you can do is you can actually host a local model on your own computer, on your own virtual private server. At least that's how I did it. And it does not take a lot of RAM. You don't need some crazy hardware or some supercomputer that you need to rent. It's actually about $6 a month. And what it allows you to do is do a lot of the basic tasks for completely free because you are running the model in your own systems. You don't have to pay for any API credits. And then when you do have to pay for API credits because you need a higher level model, you can create a hierarchy of models that will allow you to spend less credits on simple tasks and more credits on advanced tasks. And that hierarchy is actually pretty easy to create. So I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So in order to do this, you're going to want to install Ollama. Now, you specifically want the lightweight model called Llama 3.23b. It's super lightweight. It only needs 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it can run for basic tasks. Now, what this specific model is going to be used for is something called heartbeats. Now, if you've never heard of heartbeats, inside of OpenClaw or Clawdbot, there's something called a heartbeat, which is basically when the model, the AI, will look at all of the tasks that it needs to do, everything that you've asked it for, any tasks in the middle of, and it will basically run a diagnostic on all of those things every half hour, usually. So a heartbeat, because you know how your heart beats every second or whatever? Well, the AI's heartbeat is every 30 minutes. And when its heart beats, it basically looks through all the tasks that's in the middle of or supposed to do. And it's like, this needs to get done now. And it will just go do it for you. That's why it feels kind of like an AGI, kind of like Jarvis, because it does things automatically because of heartbeats. Now, heartbeats, because they happen 48 times a day on average, cost a lot of API credits because you're looking through so much input and the input tokens is a lot. When you run these heartbeats on your local model, it's completely free and pretty much completely free. And you don't need to pay for any API credits, but it can still work because the heartbeats is just kind of looking at the tasks you need to do. It's not actually doing the tasks, and so we don't need an advanced model for it. So in order to install Ollama, you're going to go to your terminal, right? And you're going to type this command right here. Once that's typed, you're then going to pull this model by typing this command here. By the way, you can find this stuff in the description below. You're then going to verify that Ollama is running. So you're going to do Ollama serve, which basically brings Ollama to the front. And then you're going to test it by saying Ollama run Llama 3.23b, respond with OK. And after a minute, it should just say OK. Now, it's a very slow model, but that's fine. So just wait for it. Once you've done that, you're going to configure the heartbeat. Now, I'm going to show you what that prompt looks like in a little bit. Now, what it's going to do is, again, you're going from 1,440 API calls a day, potentially, depending on how you have your heartbeats set up, to 0 API calls per day for the heartbeats. Big, big difference. Now, the second thing we're going to do to drastically decrease the cost, before I show you how to actually make your system use Ollama, is we're going to create that hierarchy of agents. Now, you're probably excited to use Opus 4.5 because it is a great model. It's fantastic, actually, but it's ridiculously expensive, really expensive. And for almost all tasks that you do, besides some advanced coding, you don't need Opus. You don't need Opus. You can use Sonnet, and usually you can use Haiku. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build a hierarchy where every task goes to Haiku. And if it can't do it, it then gets pushed to Sonnet. And if Sonnet can't do it, it gets pushed to Opus Maybe. I don't even have Opus in mind because I don't think I need it because I'm not doing a lot of coding with this right now. You can also add something like a GPT-5 mini before the Haiku because it's an even less expensive model that's even worse, and it can still complete a lot of tasks for you. Now, the way you're going to do this, here's one example of a prompt, but you can customize it, is you're going to say default, always use Haiku. Switch to Sonnet only when architecture decisions, production code review, security analysis, complex debugging / reasoning, strategic multi-project decisions. When in doubt, try Haiku first. Now, if you wanted to use GPT-5 mini first, you would just switch out Haiku for GPT-5 mini, of course. And you could add more to this prompt so that it would know to go to Haiku and then to go to Sonnet. Now, one other thing you'll have to do here is you'll have to add those models inside of your JSON code so that it understands that those are fallback models. So I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So inside of your terminal, you're going to type nano. Oops. Now I'm typing Clawdbot because I have Clawdbot installed, but most of you probably have OpenClaw. Now inside of this JSON file, you see all of the different models that I have. So I have my default model, and then I have all my fallbacks, which are OpenAI GPT-5 mini, then Anthropic Haiku, then GPT 5.2, then Sonnet 4.5. And the primary right now is my GPT-5 mini because it's the least expensive model out of this bunch. And so I want to start with least expensive and then gradually go up as I need to. So what this is going to do is it's going to change from having you spend about a third of a penny per 1,000 tokens to having you only spend about, I don't even know the math behind this, a fourth of a tenth of a penny. So pretty much nothing. You're pretty much spending nothing, and it's going to drastically reduce your cost for these models. Now, if you added the GPT-5 mini in here, it would actually be even less expensive than this. So how do you actually go about adding this to your agent? Well, I already showed you what kind of JSON code you need to add into your terminal. That way it understands all the different models you have. Once you've done that and you've installed Llama and you've tested that it worked, now what you're going to do is you're going to chat. Now I use Telegram, so here's what I sent my model. Exactly what I put before. So model selection rule, default, always use Haiku, It says save model selection rule to model selection rule.md, and we'll follow it. Anything else to add or change? I said, please route all heartbeats to Ollama Llama 3.23b, running 24/7 heartbeats out of fast if I use an API. So let's do it with my local model Llama. I told it exactly where I needed it. It said, and you can notice I'm up at 1:12 doing that, and I'm actually up at 2 a.m. filming this because that's how we roll. I can make that change, but it requires updating Clawdbot's configuration and restarting the gateway, so heartbeat, Okay, so I said, yes, it's running, talking about Llama. Yes, I confirm. And just to make sure, after it runs the heartbeats, it leverages the other models to complete tasks. So I'm basically telling it here that I do want it to use Llama, just like I said, to do the heartbeats. But after the heartbeats are done, aka once it knows what tasks it needs to complete at that moment, it does not do them with Llama because Llama's trash for that. Instead, it passes it off to GPT-5 mini. And then if that can't do it, to Haiku. And if that can't do it, to 5.2. And if that can't do it, to Sonnet. And if you want to, and then to Opus. And then it asked me to confirm. So I said show patch so I could actually see what the JSON would look like. And then I went ahead and said apply, and it did the changes for me. And then I restarted the Clawdbot gateway, and here we are now. The agent is configured so that every 30 minutes, I'm not spending any credits at all, because if you are spending credits every 30 minutes, you're basically paying a subscription for Clawdbot when it's hosted locally, which is stupid. And then when I do want to do something, it's not that expensive. So that's how you decrease cost by 80% by just adjusting how your models are used within OpenClaw or Clawdbot. Now, if you want me to personally set up an OpenClaw or Clawdbot for you with all the security features that you can have to make sure that it's completely secure and does not give any of your data away, and if you want me to make sure that it's as efficient as possible, because there's even more you can do than what I said in this video, and if you want me to add all of the different skills and everything like that to customize it for you so you can have your very own Jarvis, there'll be a link in the description to book a call directly with me. So book that call. We'll talk soon. And if you have any comments, please leave them in the comments down below. Thank you.